So at what point you signed a Hitco?
That came about right before. I think that came about right before Collection 1 came out, which was my last project. So I did the project, and we were releasing songs, before the project comes out, just to build it. And then I did the deal right before. We did the partnership right before it came out. But it very much felt the same as the same core team that was building it. It felt the same. So it had an independent spirit to it. It still does.
Right. And Hitco, that's L.A. Reid's new company.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why Hitco?
I felt like he was going the same place I was going. I feel like the trajectory was in the same direction. He wanted to be great. I want to be great.
Yeah. And I mean, L.A. Reid, his musical history is on a whole different playing field.
Yeah.
Not only his commercial accomplishments with, artists like Outkast and so forth, but his actual writing and producing with Babyface and, working with like Michael Jackson and the body of work that he actually musically created is incredible.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous amount. There's an enormous legacy. When I go into any type of business venture or any consideration for doing something with someone, I don't really consider their past. I'm trying to assess where they are and where they're trying to go. There's an enormous amount of people that have done tons of great things that have tapped out. So for me, I appreciate someone's legacy, but the reward in it for me is seeing where their mind is at the time.
Okay, so you end up hooking up with Biggs after you were already signed to Hitco.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was it about Biggs? Because, here you are, you already have, is Hitco considered a major label or?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? It's kind of a weird it's an interesting type of space because you have L.A. Reid who came from a major label background, but this is sort of his own project right now. So you're already signed to this, important label. And a lot of times, when you see that situation, there's already management in place. There's already the team that helped get that deal together and so forth. So did you not have management at that point?
No, I did. I had a team. I'm signed to God Complex, which is my company, and that has a partnership with Hitco. Just so it's clear. So we've always operated as an independent. I've always operated. That's the spirit I come from. I come from the Rockefeller doctrine. I watched that growing up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was it about Biggs that made you, link up with him as your manager?
First of all, we just became friends, right? So the relationship was just intact. And his vision is sharp. It's as sharp as it was when he first got behind Kanye. It's as sharp as it was when he was putting together the records with Jay. It's the same. It has the same level of integrity. And again, I grew up on the principles that he helped create. Right? So when we sat down and we were just talking, there was such a shared history. It seemed so similar. And I was like, fam, I come from your lineage. Of course it seems similar. So many of these things I experienced because I was watching from a distance. So it was natural.
Yeah, Biggs, I remember there was some sort of roundtable discussion that you were at. I think you posted on your Instagram where you talked about how when you do business, you don't focus on the money at all. You focus on the relationship. Where like if you do not want to hang out with this person, in your off time, you don't want to do business with them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think early on it was about the transaction and how to monetize everything that we were doing, and we didn't focus on the relationships. And a lot of times we got into business with people where it became some friction, then you notice that you don't particularly like or have the same set of views. So that changed for me quite a bit ago. So now I pay attention and focus on relationship first while I'm building these businesses. And this was something, like we said earlier, that's genuine. And he and I just became friends. And when we're not working, well, no, we're probably always working because we're always thinking about things. Right. So it's, talking about ideas, but we go to breakfast, we go to lunch together, we have dinner, studio, we hang out off time, on time, Yeah,
It's a lot of
a
shopping.
lot of shopping.
We should stop that.
Actually, I'm gonna stop hanging out with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bad
so
influence.
yeah, so that's about to stop soon. You won't see me with them for a few months because yeah, my credit card's about to get sliced up.
Same. Pressure's real out here.
Yeah, man. I think as an entrepreneur, especially, growing up being poor, you are so focused on the money in the beginning. It's really, like you said, it's all about the transaction because you think it's never going to come again. You think that whatever money's coming, I'm never going to see any more of it. So
Or
just
you
focus
think
on
that
the
it's never
money.
going to stop. I would say a lot of times it's the opposite when you make it. And that's what happens with a lot of entertainers and sports players and why you run through it, because you don't think that faucet is going to cut off.
Yeah, there's that part too. I've made that mistake as well.
Yeah.
The first time I started making money, yeah, I thought it was going to go on forever, and then I went dead broke.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you do put so much focus on the money, and I remember whenever I've done business with someone who I didn't really like very much or I didn't respect completely, I'd always lose money at the end, each and every time. And that was just a very hard lesson where, these days at the level that I'm at, business-wise and financially, that's the first thing I look for. Like, is this someone that I really like and enjoy, being around?
Yeah.
And if that answer is not completely yes, then I won't even take the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally, like I've had people worth hundreds of millions that wanted to buy my company or wanted to do some type of business, but I've had, I've already had negative experiences with them and so forth, that I just said, this is just a waste of time.
I think the misconception is that people change. I would say money doesn't corrupt character, it reveals it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the experience of actually going through the business cycle a few times, you start seeing the signs early on. You see what I'm saying? You say, okay, this is going to end up being a waste of time. Let me just cut it short right here and there. Speaking about fashion, Saint John, you actually modeled for Gucci at one point.
Yeah.
Was it a lot of modeling or just a couple shows?
I did a fair amount of modeling, but for Gucci, we just did one campaign for the Gucci Guilty campaign.
Okay. But you said you didn't really like the whole modeling thing.
Nah, that's not my thing. Yeah. I
Okay,
barely
why
like
is that?
taking pictures as is. I take them because I look good in them, but I don't like taking them.
When you look at, because, you've done modeling for Gucci. When you look at the whole Gucci, blackface sweater thing, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I was bothered by that. I was beyond bothered. I mean, that's troubling, right? To be this far in the future. We're in the future. We're about to be in 2020. 2020 was just an idea like some years ago, right? Highly speculative. What we gonna be? What's technology gonna be like? So we're here and we're progressively moving forward in time. Spike Lee just won his first Academy Award. Like we're making steps. All of this for people to just absentmindedly forget. So you're just it felt insulting. When Burberry did the noose around the neck and Gucci did the black, it's just insulting. Like, you think nobody's gonna see this?
Biggs, what do you think?
I definitely agree with him on that note. And we got to look at the bigger picture as well, too, right? These fashion houses on top of that. But again, this brings us back to dialogue, which is the thing I always say causes change. So I like the way Dapper Dan addressed it socially. Also, with the team over there and executives at Gucci, to bring them in, have, basically almost like a fashion town hall and address these situations. So now other fashion houses can listen up and what not to do, right? Whether it was a mistake or not, or what have you. But I think now people are definitely watch the steps that they're taking and pay more attention to what they're putting out because of this. H&M did something, not too long ago. So it's been happening, over and over. So hopefully it won't happen again.
We'll never really know what happened behind the scenes, but from my point of view, I kind of felt like they were trolling. I felt like they knew what they were doing and they knew the effects of it, and they knew that the level of media exposure that they would get from this would be something that they can't buy on their own.
I wouldn't think that way.
You don't think so?
No, because it's all negative press. I mean, we just seen what happened with Nike market cap when the guy blew out his foot, right? I mean, when the sneaker came off, right? Lost about 2.8 billion because it was 2% of market cap. So you don't know what the backlash is going to be, and fashion houses like that, I would strongly believe that they wouldn't do something to say, oh yeah, we're going to get all this negative press and it's going to make people talk about Gucci.
Especially in a time like this when retail stores are closing. They wouldn't, why take that risk? That can't be worth it.
I don't know, man, because, and we've talked about this before, Biggs, like I'm heavily into stock investment. That drop that Nike had, on paper, it looks like $2 billion. A week, a monmonth from now, that's just going to come back.
Yeah, probably, but
you see what I'm saying? Like that's not a permanent drop.
Yeah,
and that's just a paper drop. They didn't actually lose any money unless everyone ended up selling at that point.
Agree, but I'm just saying it's not something that's you want to look, and then you got people going. Not only that, right? So even if it goes back up, now you got people looking at other companies now, right? Right, whether it's Puma, Adidas, or whatever it is, New Balance. So I just don't believe that somebody would do something.
I don't know, man.
Especially for a community that they know that supports them. And that's probably 70%, 80% of. I would say we agree to disagree on that.
Okay.
Not to keep going on that.
I feel you. I feel you. Like I said, I think that it was a calculated move, but at the end of the day, we'll never know. So what's next for you guys?
Well, there's a song coming out Friday, Trap with Saint JHN and Lil Baby. So that's the immediate future.
Okay, well, I heard that song. It's already on YouTube. Is there like a music video coming out for it?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we're looking to shoot a video and stuff. So we just, how it is, coordinating schedule. St. John's moving around a lot. Lil Baby definitely is. He's on fire right now. Shout out to P and Coach K.
Yeah. And shout out to Baby too.
Yeah,
he sounds amazing on the record.
Yeah, Lil Baby's dope, man. I interviewed him early on, and his trajectory was like nothing I've ever seen in music. Like he went from like relatively unknown to a superstar in like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I heard that collab, man. Definitely dope. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you guys sitting down. And St. John, I think you bring something very different. Like when I sat down and started listening to the catalog, and like we said, it definitely has kind of a hip hop basis, but it's not the type of hip hop that I've heard before. And it's also not, what you consider like SoundCloud rap. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like a Lil Uzi Vert or or a Trippie Redd or XXXTentacion. I think the type of energy that you're bringing is very different. And I think once the rest of the world picks up on it, man, you're gonna, you're gonna have some pretty amazing results.
Starting to look like a bright future. I like the way you're talking though.
Yeah, man. And like I said, to build that type of organic audience in the tens of millions of views and still be under the radar of a lot of people is pretty remarkable.
I like it there. They can't hit you if they can't see you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. St. John, Biggs, appreciate you guys coming in, man. Until next time.
All right, good looking, Flat.
Peace.